Enchanting is essential in Oblivion Remastered to get the most out of your character builds, as with it you can break the skill cap of 100 and maximize your attributes, but also deal more damage with your weapons or literally turn invisible with your armor. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your man 4am again, and welcome to the ultimate guide to Enchanting, in which I'm gonna share everything you want to know about it to get the most out of your character builds. So let's get straight down to business. I've spent quite a lot of time to prepare this guide to cover everything you need to know about enchanting. Not just where you can find an enchanting table, as there is so much more to it. How you can find the right ingredients for it, like soul gems, and also trap souls inside to determine the quality of your enchant. Recharge these enchanted items, and so much more. I've got timestamps in the description for all the chapters if you want to check them out quickly, but it would mean the world to me if you can spare 1 second of your time to hit that like button and say something random in the comments to help other people find this guide. So how exactly do we start enchanting? Well, there are actually different methods to do this in Oblivion Remastered. The first one is already super accessible, as you will gain access to this from the very beginning. You simply have to complete these Gates to Oblivion events. We have to destroy the top of the tower. Every time when you complete one of these, you'll be rewarded with a Sigil stone. If we click on these, you see that this specific one comes with shock damage on strike and shock shield on self. We've got another one. This one comes with absorb strength on strike or fortify strength on self. It also depends which item we enchant. If we take the short sword, for example, it will automatically put that absorb strength on strike. Right here you can see that this is a weapon enchantment and that is the shield enchantment. The effects on them will always be randomized after you've completed the event. So if you want to manipulate the type of enchantment on them, you can always save right before you complete them. Complete the event, check your enchantment, rinse and repeat until you find something you like. The second method, my favorite, would be to simply visit an Altar of Enchanting. This is where you can choose any type of gear, both weapons and armor, to enchant by using soul gems, and also go for any effect you've unlocked. More about that a little bit later in this video, but I think this is a pretty interesting one, as it also allows you to increase specific attribute bonuses like strength and agility. Damage with blade weapons, increase the efficiency of light armor, deal more damage with bows, increase your sneak skill, speechcraft, etc. Altars of Enchanting are pretty rare in the game though. There are only 2 different locations where you can find them. The first location is pretty tricky to unlock, as you first have to go through a pretty long quest line to join the Mages Guild, for which you have to gain recommendation letters from every single Mage Guild in the game. These can be found in all the major cities, but there are a total of 7 quests for this to complete before you gain access to it. I'm already working on a full guide with everything you need to know about it to complete this questline super fast. But long story short, after you've gained the trust of the Mage Guild, you will gain access to the Arcane University, which can be found in the southeastern part of the Imperial City. You want to open this gate to the right, walk straight ahead, and this is the house where you want to go to. It's called the Chironacium, which can be found in the southern part of the university, the second house right here, with 4 enchanting tables inside. Of course, you're only gonna need 1, but yes, as you already heard, it's a pretty difficult one to unlock. Thankfully, there is another alternative to this. I'm working on a full guide for this as well, which you'll be able to find in the top right of the screen. But to save you a lot of time, simply quick travel to Bruma, the Wild Eye Stables, and make your way to the east. You want to climb the Gnoll Mountain, walk to the east a little bit more, and this is where you will find the Frostcrag Spire, or Mage Tower basically. The most important reason why you want to unlock the Spire is because at the very end of it, you'll be able to find an altar of both spellmaking and enchanting. When you interact with them though, you won't be able to use them just yet. You first have to light them with Magetallow Candles. Worry not, I've got you covered on these. All you have to do is travel to the Imperial City once again and pay the Market District a visit. At the very top of it, you'll be able to find a little shop called the Mystic Emporium. That's where you want to interact with Auraline Wae and start trading. As you can see, she sells 2 times the Magetallow candle boxes for both altars. I know these are pretty expensive, but definitely worth the time you save with it by not doing the Mage Guild questline. I decided to purchase only one for the Altar of Enchanting. We're gonna talk more about spellcrafting later. So nice, we can start enchanting, but wait, you're also gonna need specific ingredients. Already a truckload of money, but even more importantly, you also want to hunt for soul gems. You have to fill these up with a specific ability and also make sure it becomes the highest quality possible. So let's quickly talk about soul gems themselves. The first and easiest method would be to simply revisit the Mystic Emporium or any other shop in the game and interact with the shop owner to purchase yourself some gems. The better soul gems, black and grand, can be purchased right here, as well as greater and lessers. Always check out the details, as right here it will also tell which soul is trapped inside. This little fella is empty. I'd always recommend to purchase the empty ones, as they're usually much cheaper. See? Grand Soul Gem 557, this one 318. But I want to save you a lot of money with a much more fun method. If you've already seen my previous video where I show you how to unlock an unbreakable lockpick with unlimited uses that makes opening locked doors and chests child's play, can be found in the top right of the screen, well, this is the place to be. Travel to Chorrol Northgate. As right here you can find the Chorrol Mages Guild, and inside you will find a lot of containers that all come with soul gems. But now comes the tricky part. Most of the gems you come across during your adventures, stealing, finding or buying, will not have souls inside. And this is also the best thing to focus on, as you can then fill them yourself, make them the highest quality possible, for which, you guessed it, we're gonna need something else, and this is a spell called Soul Trap. I think you'll be able to purchase this specific spell from different vendors in the game, but one of those would be Alberic Litte, found in the Chorrol Mage Guild. He can also train your conjuration skill, but most importantly, before you purchase the spell right here, haggle to decrease the price. But now comes another tricky part. When you check out the soul trap in your book, it will most likely say that your skill level is too low, especially if you don't have a mage build like me, so you're gonna have to train mysticism before you'll be able to use it. So every time when you cast a spell in Oblivion, you will simply gain experience with it for that specific school. And this is where I decided to search for a spell I was able to cast on self. I found a pretty interesting one at the Leawin Mages Guild. Inside this building, you want to search for Alves Uvenim. If you can't trade with her, simply wait for the daytime, but purchase some spells and search for the Minor Dispel. Everyone has at least 25 mana, so this is the perfect one to use for leveling. Then you want to bind the ability, start spamming it, and you will notice that leveling goes pretty quickly, and we only have to reach 25. Hupsa, there we go. We just became apprentice level mysticism. Great, now that the hard part is done, we can finally start trapping souls, for which you're gonna need those empty soul gems, which we've talked about earlier. But to keep things simple, what you want to do is search for high level enemies with also higher quality souls. I think a good place to start would be to search inside these dungeons, check out all of those as they are filled with foes. When you encounter one, you want to weaken it as much as possible. Make sure that their HP pool is super low, then cast the soul trap and take him out. When successful, you will see this prompt: you have captured a soul, which can be done with most targets. Again, the stronger the target you take out with this spell applied, the better the soul quality will be. It's also worth exploring these dungeons to the fullest, as they are also filled with soul gems you can pick up. So now we can revisit an Altar of Enchanting and throw in all the stuff we have. A nice amount of money, an unenchanted item, as well as the failed soul gem. Let's take this stolen jade sapphire ring as example. Then choose a soul gem. Let's go with a lesser one with also a lesser soul inside. Then we can apply an effect to it. There are a whole lot of different ones you can unlock. Agility, interesting in my case, to deal more damage with bows and blades. Before you can complete the enchant, you have to give your item a custom name and also pay money based on the quality of the enchant, which is also determined by the quality of the soul gem. Check it out, we just made ourselves 4M's ring, which comes with a pretty nice sell value of 800, but also the fortify agility on self with 7 points. So I think this is already pretty self-explanatory if we repeat the process with this gold emerald ring. and choose to use a Grand Soul Gem with a Greater Soul inside, pick up the exact same Fortify attribute, it's gonna cost more, but also fortify the agility on self by 9 points. Which, yeah, is gonna make our character even more powerful. Let's also take a Glass Dagger, for example, as enchanting weapons can be a little bit trickier if you don't know what you're doing. We have 3 sliders in this case when we choose the same Fortify skill: Magnitude, Area, and Duration. Magnitude determines the strength or the power of the effect you add to your weapon, while Area defines the radius or scope of your effect, which can be useful for example, two-handed weapons if you want to hit multiple targets with it, while Duration defines the length in seconds before the effect wears off, which all, by the way, impact the price of your enchanting. So in my case, I go for the maximum magnitude, take a little bit of area as I focus on single target with daggers, and go for a low duration as my goal is to one-shot my targets. Unlocking any type of enchantment is not that difficult. All you have to do is find the right vendor and purchase the spell from them. For the Chameleon spell specifically, you want to travel to Castle Bravil and enter the Mage Guild. This is where you want to search for a lady called Ita Rinus. Interact with her to purchase spells. Right here you can find both Shadow and Chameleon. Before you purchase them, first do some haggling so you can reduce the cost. Now comes the tricky part, as when you interact with your Altar of Enchanting, the chances are high you will still not find this spell on it. The main reason for this is that you're not on the level required to use this ability, but essentially this is a journeyman illusion spell which you can only use starting at level 50. Therefore, we first have to increase our illusion to this level. Then, when you've reached the required level, you'll finally be able to cast this ability, make yourself invisible, and also apply the enchantment on the Altar of Enchanting. If you want me to make a guide with all the cool enchantings, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to share them in another video. It is also very important to know that all the armor you enchant will have their effects forever, while all the weapons you use will use a portion of their charge every single time when you attack with them. So at a certain point you're gonna have to recharge them, which can also be done with different means. One of those, the most convenient in my opinion, would be to simply consume soul gems. If you click on them, you can choose any of your items, then press recharge, and bam, they will refill the charges based on the soul gem's quality. Consuming the soul gem in the process, so be noted that you will lose it afterwards. You can't refill it. Well, if you have a truckload of money, you can always talk to a merchant of, for example, the Mages Guild and do it for you. The guy in Chorrol is called Florius. Simply ask them to recharge your weapon and there you go. For the Stinger we only have to pay 288, but Sufferthorn, oh boy, that's almost 2000. So I wouldn't necessarily call this the best method to recharge him. There is one last method which becomes pretty interesting, especially if you use multiple enchanted items. For these, you're gonna have to hunt for a specific item, usually found inside dungeons. It's called the Varla Stone. Pretty valuable things with a sell value of 1000, but when you use those, they will instantly recharge everything inside your inventory. So you can save a lot of money, and yeah, if you don't need them, also sell them for a nice amount of cash. Alright, so there you have it, everything you need to know about enchanting, to do it properly and hunt for all the required items, maximize the efficiency of your enchants, etc. If you found the guide helpful, again, a like would be very much appreciated. And yeah, if you have more questions or video suggestions, you can always leave them in the comments. If you're new here, say hi and join our Discord with thousands of members. That's it for today though, I've got plenty more guides on the channel. I'll check you guys in the next video or live stream. Peace.